Good evening, everyone. Hope everyone is doing well this evening. We have something special for you guys. As you know, we have recently partnered with Autism Advocate Parenting Magazine. So we have the executive director here with us this evening to tell us a little more about the magazine and answer any questions you may have. So let's welcome Jenny Crawford to Autism Invest. Hi, Jenny. How are you?
Good. Thank you so much for having me on, Nita. I'm excited to be here and to connect with the community.
Great. Awesome. So let's get right into it. But before we start talking about the magazine, tell us a little bit about you, something interesting.
Something interesting.
Hmm.
Well, I have a huge heart for humanitarian work. I actually lived for most of a summer about 15 years ago in Kenya building schools. And my heart has kind of been there ever since. And it's my big goal to bring back or to bring my autistic son there and to have
Awesome.
him serve and show him Kenya and the beautiful people there. And so that's probably something a little bit unique. Humanitarian
Yes.
work has a really a strong, I don't know, drive for me to help others that way. And I think it stemmed from serving in Kenya. So yeah, I that's
Okay.
probably something about
Awesome.
myself,
Yes.
I guess.
Yes. I like. That's beautiful too. That is really beautiful. So getting into the magazine,
Mhm.
tell us what motivated you to start Autism Advocate Parenting Magazine and how did you come up with the name?
Yeah. So really a bunch of parents kind of got together and we understood that, there's good information out there, there's better information out there, and there's the best information. And oftentimes when, you have an autistic child, you only know about your local resources, your local pediatrician. Maybe you get into OT, maybe you go into speech. A lot of people go into ABA or IBI, but there's so much more out there for autistic kids. And we really wanted to access the top doctors, professionals, and researchers in the field of autism to understand what they're doing that maybe we're missing out on, just only solely relying on our local practitioners. So we got together when we formulated this magazine. Probably, I would say, because we can't really go flying all over the world to meet all the doctors and start picking their brain.
Right.
So it's just such an easy way to have them write for the magazine so that we as parents could obtain that incredible information, apply it into our children's lives, and then, of course, go out and share that with the autism community. And I guess how we came up with the name is when you really think of advocacy, it's really about promoting and defending another person's rights, needs, and interests. And who better to advocate for, first and foremost, our autistic children, and especially
Yeah.
our children, because oftentimes they don't have a voice to, advocate for themselves. And so that's really where the name came from. We're autism parents. We have a child on the spectrum, and we really want to advocate for them. So that's kind of how we came up with the name.
Okay. Okay. So tell us a little bit about your team, who works with you besides the professionals, the doctors.
Yeah.
What does your team consist of? Who does your
Yeah.
team
So we
consist
have a parent advocate advisory board. They really help to steer the magazine. They really look at what parents want to know, what they're struggling with. They help give suggestions and guide the magazine. They're all volunteer, so they have a child on the spectrum or they're a self advocate themselves. And then we have a team of graphic designers, editors as well. Admin. We have a great creative director who works with all of our doctors, researchers, and professionals. And she has a huge hand in writing the summary research articles too. So we have a really great team that pretty much is all volunteer,
of?
exception of the admin staff and editors, but we really just do it so that we can get this information, ourselves, and then of course share it with others. And that's the best way we knew how to obtain it.
Yeah, and that's the best type of team to have. Everyone is passionate about autism.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Yep. So let's talk about your resources, the connections and the research that you do. How do you look for things to include each month? And do you have a theme for every month?
Mhm. So we don't have a theme every month. We cover literally every topic possible in the field of autism. So all the typical stuff that you want to know as an autism parent, and all the stuff you have no idea that's out there that can support you and your family. And so how we come up with the different topics and the different things we publish. People will write into the magazine curious about certain topics. Obviously, there's a lot of topics that everybody wants to know about, which is like sleep, self-interest behaviors, meltdowns, toilet training, all of those types of things. But then we go even beyond that with a lot of our topics, and we kind of cover 4 key areas in our magazine. So we cover expert advice, so top doctors, researchers, and professionals and their advice for parents. We also cover current autism research. So we write it in a way that's understandable for parents, because I don't know about you, but I don't go on PubMed, and nor can I understand anything that these articles are saying. But we summarize it and we say how it applies to you as a parent, what you can do with that information, and what it means for you. And then we have printable resources, everything you can think of possibly to print and use with your child, whether it's visual schedules or first then boards, or managing emotions handouts and printouts and resources. So we cover quite a bit. And what I love about the magazine too is there's no red tape. So if there's a topic you want to know about, write in. We'll find an expert to write on that topic. If there's a printable resource that you haven't found in our article directory, just write us. We'll go ahead and create it, as long as it serves the whole community. So
Awesome.
and of course, we have stories.
You guys hear that? If you know of a topic or something that you want to know about, write in.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. I interrupted.
Yeah, and I think we do that because as parents, we're so busy. I remember like working with my son when he was very, very little, and he's 11 right now. And at night, I would spend all my time researching and Googling and going down the rabbit hole of trying to figure things out myself and create resources and documents. And that we have this great team that just does all of that for our parents that subscribe to the magazine, so that they can spend more time with their kids. They can just click and print, or, they resonate with an article, print it, bring it to your support team, show that backup, advocate for your child and something that you want to implement into your child's program.
Yep. That's what we like. Simple things.
Yes.
Make it simple.
Yeah.
Okay. What hurdles, if any, did you have when starting up the magazine, or when the idea came to you? Did you have any issues or hurdles?
Well, we thought we would have a hurdle with getting top experts to write for a brand new magazine. But I'll be honest, it wasn't a hurdle at all. We were kind of blown away. All of our authors and contributors, they responded favorably, and they said, you know what, this is a resource that is sorely needed to empower parents. I would be happy to write. All of them write complimentary as well. So you can just see this magazine is just like a pure labor of love to help parents. The only hiccup or hurdle we kind of had was at the beginning with the website. It was a lot of time and a lot of stress, but we worked out all the kinks and it's smooth running now. So it's all working great, but it's been pretty good since we launched the magazine.
Awesome. Now, something positive. What didn't you expect that would happen with the magazine when you started it up?
Yeah, so I think at first, we all kind of had our minds set on educating those in affluent countries like, Canada, the United States, the UK, like all of Europe, Australia. And as we started to produce this magazine, I think kind of that background of the humanitarian just kind of tugged at my heart. And I was reading an article one day about a certain country that it was only like 10 years ago that they believed that autistic kids were possessed, and they used to put them away. And when I read that, my heart just dropped. Now, this was 10 years ago that was a thing, but it takes a long time to kind of change over those thoughts in a country. And so one of the things that we started to reach out and do is to contact international autism organizations in some underdeveloped countries around the world, and to offer the magazine for free to all of their parents, so that they could have that information delivered to them every month. Everybody in all of these countries, by the way, have smartphones, so they can read it on a smartphone. I knew that even when I was in Kenya, everybody had smartphones. Nobody has a landline. And so we just deliver that to them monthly. And, when we send our subscription out to, all of our subscribers, it comes from an admin email. So you just get it and you read it. And that's what we do here in North America. But it's interesting, every month we send it out to all of the parents in, I think it's 4 different countries now. For the underdeveloped countries, we're always getting in our admin email flooded back with "thank you so much, we really appreciate this," and their gratitude is it just warms your heart, and you're just happy that hopefully you're making a difference delivering this expert information to them. And again, like with our magazine, we really try to make sure everything's written in a way that you can take action as a parent. So I think that was kind of unexpected, but probably one of the best parts of doing this magazine.
Wow. Much respect to you. That's beautiful. You just touched my heart with all of that.
Thank you.
So, as with the parents, what would you say? How can the magazine add value to parents' lives who are raising loved ones on the spectrum?
Yeah, so I think what's really important is to always remember that to be an empowered parent, you need to become educated. You really don't know what you don't know, right? That old saying. And so it's really important to access the best resources possible so that you can make good decisions for your children. And that's exactly what the magazine can do. Instead of spending countless hours constantly researching and going down the rabbit hole of the internet or creating things, we kind of just do that almost a la carte service straight to parents. We save you time. We bring you the best information straight to your inbox. And I'm going to quote Dr. Tom O'Brien, who's written for the magazine. He said, obviously it's very overwhelming, especially for a new parent with a child on the spectrum. But if you just spend 1 hour a week learning about a different area of autism, before you know it, you'll become an expert in many areas of autism. And so really the goal of the magazine is to empower you as a parent to take action so that you can see some benefits with your child and to learn, different things that are available to you from, top experts in their advice all around the world. And so what I do, I'm not an expert myself. I'm like every other parent. I pick up that magazine every month. I read every article. And there's this page in the back of the magazine where you can write down your thoughts. What inspired you? What do you want to reach out to your support team and discuss with them? What articles do you want to print from the magazine to bring to your doctor and to start a conversation? Or maybe you want to reach out to that expert that wrote that article and engage them in their services to help your autistic child. And it doesn't mean that every single article in the magazine you're going to implement as a parent and you're going to be overwhelmed and you're going to do all these things.
Right.
You know your child best. You spend the most time with your child. As the parent, you are the expert of your child. So when you read that information, you're going to know what applies to your journey and what you want to pursue. The whole point, though, is to get that information in front of you so that you can make those good decisions for your child.
All right. Awesome. So before we move on, can I ask everyone who comes in to please share the love and hit that love button? Let us know that you were here. This will be in the group as a recording for those who miss it this evening. But please hit that love button and let us know you've been here. Okay, so personally, have you come across your own favorite articles in the magazine? One that really touched you? Can you tell us about it?
Yeah. There's so many articles. It's hard to pick a favorite. To me, my favorite articles are obviously the ones that resonate with my journey and that I implement with my son. So one of them, Dr. Gregory Knoll, he's great. I love to give him as an example. My son really struggles with negativity and just not having positive thoughts and falling into what are called thinking traps. And there's typically 6 different thinking traps that a lot of autistic kids can fall into, whether it's futuristic thinking. So always thinking the worst and what's ahead, black and white thinking, mind reading what you assume other people are thinking. There's about 6 of them. And I never really knew how to describe my son's struggles and challenges with his thought process until I got that information from Dr. Knoll. And it was really, really nice to have that articulated so well. And then he had solutions of how we could address it. And so I did bring that article to my son's school and in that IEP meeting, and we implemented those strategies, and it significantly helped him. There's another article by Dr. Bowles, who is world renowned as a genetics doctor, and he does whole genome sequencing. And it was so fascinating to read about whole genome sequencing and how important it is. And my local pediatrician didn't know anything about whole genome sequencing. Mm-hmm. And so here I read this, 10-page article. It was great. I also read his article, or a review of his research article on Dr. Temple Grandin's genome. And he had talked about a gene that Temple Grandin has that makes her feet really, really hot when she's speaking on stage. Okay. And all throughout the years, my son's feet get super, super hot, and he's always trying to stick them in the freezer. And I have gone to his pediatrician. I have gone to multiple people, and they have no idea. I Googled it, and there has been nothing. Mm-hmm. And then I read this summary of Dr. Grandin's genome. And when I came across that, I'm like, and it talked about the gene that is associated with hot feet. And I thought, oh my gosh, this must be the gene like my son has. And so, I reached out to them, and hopefully soon we're going to be doing whole genome sequencing on my son. And it's just fascinating to see all that you can learn with whole genome sequencing. So there's lots of things like that when I read, different things available to parents with an autistic kid, that I think this is amazing. I want to participate in this. I want to access this doctor and their information. I want to go this route. Like I said, I don't do everything in the magazine. I read it along with everyone else, and I just start to implement the things that resonate with us. And I've seen amazing results with my son. So I'm really appreciative of that.
Wow, I've never heard of hot feet. That's something new. That is something new.
And I wouldn't have known, aside from, now learning about whole genome sequencing, and now we're going to go through the process of getting it done.
So there's more value, you guys, to the magazine. Uh-huh. Okay, so what is one key takeaway about this magazine that you really would like our community to absorb?
Yeah, so I think maybe I have a couple of key takeaways. Okay. As parents, we spend the most time with our children. We obviously care the most for our children. As parents, we're the most invested in their potential and their progression. We are kind of the experts on our kids. And so, like I mentioned before, it's so important to be empowered with good information so that you can access resources and things available to you that could help your child a lot. I love this quote. And I think it's from Maya Angelou. And she said, "Do the best you can until you know better. And when you know better, do better." And I think that's kind of the philosophy of all of us at the magazine, all of us parents. We're doing the best we can. We're not perfect. We try our best. But when you know better, when you become educated on things that are available, then do better for your child. And I think that's what a lot of parents are striving to do out there. And I want to mention that it's so important as a parent to be an active and engaged parent with your child. If there's one thing that I can say that is consistent across most of the top doctors and researchers and professionals that have written for the magazine, is that active and engaged parents make all the difference in the world, in their child's life, their autistic child's life. And you will see greater gains, even if slow. If you are not just dropping your kid off at therapy, a couple times a week, but you're watching what they do and you're implementing it at home, that you're consistent at home. And as a parent, you want to have a good mindset too, because if you're not in the right mindset, it's going to be really hard to give the best to your child. So I don't know. I feel like that was like a ton of different things, but I did want to share that. Hopefully that's okay.
But definitely, I really agree with that. Being involved really makes a big difference.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we had a question from a parent from one of the articles the other day about anxiety.
Yeah.
And she asked, how can you take care of a loved one with anxiety if you have anxiety yourself? What
Yeah.
is your thoughts on that?
Well, that's a really good question. I actually have had anxiety for many, many years, and it was probably more heightened when my son was younger. And I kept thinking about the future and what was going to happen. And I was really struggling, back in the early days with his diagnosis and how to best support him. And we have a lot of articles in the magazine geared towards anxiety and stress with autistic children. It's very, very common. But when you actually read a lot of those articles, for example, even Dr. Knowles about thinking traps or Dr. Christopher Lynch and his 5 suspects for anxiety, a lot of the things that they talk about in those articles actually could be applied as a parent. And I know when I read them, I'm kind of absorbing it the same and implementing some of their strategies for myself.
Okay.
I would also say, I'm not an expert, so it's really important to seek medical attention. If you're not filled up, if you're not, putting yourself in the right frame of mind, it's going to be hard to give your child the best.
Yeah.
If I were just to give advice from myself, not being an expert, I think, not living in the space of always being constantly thinking about the future, but rather being present and having gratitude every single day, which sometimes can be hard. But when you get in the habit of having gratitude daily, a lot of things can shift with your mindset in your life. So that's what I would just say as a
Okay.
parent. But
That's
like I
okay.
said, you should probably seek out some medical help to just make sure you're getting the full help that you need.
Great answer. Great answer. Okay, so we are coming to the conclusion. Anyone in the chat have any question? Jesse says, I'm also in a self-advocate group. There are people with autism, people with seizures, and more. Okay. Dinah says, very interesting. Hey, RS. Okay, what is the most proud accomplishment do you feel the MAG has brought that you did not expect? You may have answered that, but
Yeah, so that would probably be reaching out to the international autism organizations and really helping parents that really don't have access to any sort of real good resources to help their autistic kid. And we do that with an organization in Kenya, Zimbabwe, Tanzania, and now we're looking at Rwanda. So very excited about that.
okay. All right. So I don't see any questions, but you guys, if you have any questions later on, you can include them in this chat or you can send Jenny a message. So I'm going to let Jenny share a little information about the magazine and how you can subscribe.
Yeah, so if you go to www.autismadvocateparentingmagazine.com /autism and us, and you put in the coupon code autism and us, all in capitals, in either an annual or a premium subscription, you'll get an incredible discount, and you'll also get a bunch of freebies that you'll notice in your account. I think you get a research pack, you get a printables pack, you get a bonus pack, and you get some other surprises there too. So, and we do that through Autism and Us so that we can also benefit charities that have their own missions and things that they're doing with the autism community. So it's really important to go through that link so that they can benefit as well as they serve the community.
Okay, I think I put it in there right. I forgot the,
Yep,
let me see if is it clickable? I can't tell. I may need to add. Let me see. Oh, yeah. Okay. I had to go to the other page. So the link is in the chat area. Other thing is Jenny will be with us every other Tuesday. She will be coming live solo. So, and discussing some things that are important to our parents here, our community. So we will have that schedule up real soon. So look forward to that. So is it every other starting next Tuesday?
Sure,
Yeah.
whatever works for you.
Okay. So starting next Tuesday, every other Tuesday, she will be live in the group as well as the main page. So we look forward to that, and I'll be sure to put up a schedule for that. So before we sign off, is there any other questions? Jenny, do you want to say some last words or?
Last words. Speak now. No, I just really appreciate being here in the community and appreciate all the parents, raising a child on the spectrum. We really have an amazing responsibility with our children, and they will teach us more than they will ever learn from us. We are being taught by them. So I'm excited for, for those to subscribe to the magazine and start learning things that can really help your child from the top experts globally.
Okay. Thank you. Well, thank you, Jenny. We appreciate you and look forward to your lives this starting next week. Starting next week.
Sounds
So
good.
thank you everybody for tuning in this evening. And again, if you have any questions, don't hesitate. And we will see you again soon. Bye, everybody. Thank you. Thank you, Jenny.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.